Today, we will learn how to create a Rails EPUB reader. EPUB is a popular open format for reading ebooks. We will use a JavaScript library known as EpubJs to read our books. As you can see the GitHub page for it right here. So to begin, we create our blank Rails application, which I have done right here. And then we'll generate our scaffold. We'll call it book and give it a title of type string. And then we'll also install active storage. We can then run Rails db prepare to create our database and to run our migrations. And then we run Rails serve to start our server. Let's update our route. We'll change this to books. So let's update our model here. Since we're using active storage to attach our book to our novel to this, we will do as one attached. Let's call it novel. Then we go to our books controller. You want to permit this here. And next we will update our form. So we can, let's call it novel. And this will change it to a file field. And then we'll have change this to novel. So we can look at it here. Let's see our new book. Let's call it Dracula. You can browse and you can upload it. And there we go. We also want to put a download link here for our file. So you can see we simply use a link to and we say it's download and use a Rails blob path for our file and give it a disposition and an ID. So if we load once again, you can see it here. We next wrap our page here in a stimulus controller. Go to div data controller. Let's call it Epub. All right. And then we'll create an area here. This is where our Epub, our book, will render. So we also have to install EpubJs, our EpubJs library here. So we can do import map pin EpubJs. You can see it goes ahead and pins EpubJs and some other dependencies for it. You can see it here. You see all the dependencies for it, but this is what we'll be using here. So you go to our stimulus controller hello here. Let's just rename this to Epub controller. And we don't need this here. Then we import Epub from EpubJs, or how's it spelled? Let's change this to Epub. And when we look at the documentation for EpubJs, you can see right here, it shows us how to render out an Epub. we simply set the rendition to book render, we set the width, and we set the height. So that is what we're going to do. So we go ahead and we simply just copy this. We insert our connect method, we paste it here. And you see it says URL to our book package. And since we added this here, this link here, we could just use this link instead. So we could do document.get element by ID. We can say download. And for this, we want the hyperlink reference. So if we go back, see nothing happens. That is because we forgot to display it. Simple error here. We'll just change this to Epub. And we reload it. There we go. Our ebooks has loaded up. And we could also play with the variables a bit. You can see I set the width to 600 and the height to 400. We do 1,800. And you can see it's displays there. But as you can see, there's no way to navigate, control navigation in this book. So to control our navigation, we go back to our show page. And about here, we want to add anchor tags that will let us go between the previous and the next page. So to that, we create our anchor tag, we give it an ID of previous and next. We also give them arrows to indicate which direction they would go. When we refresh, you can see the arrows do appear, but nothing happens. So we have to write the JavaScript to enable this to happen. So we go back to our controller, our Ebook controller. So EpubJs also provides us with callbacks that we can use. So we add an event listener to next. We look at the book and the meta direction to depend whether we're going to the previous page or to the next page. Similarly, we do the same thing for our previous button. So when we load this again, you can see it works. So this is simply how to create a EPUB reader as in Rails and EpubJs.